Part 24. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 234. The picture began to break, and the scene in the Tianren conference hall gradually appeared around Binghua. Opening his eyes, Binghua stared at the angel below. I have just read the data you uploaded. The situation of the Sakaz people is not optimistic. The monster they call the Chaos Body is beyond the range of their civilization. As the master of the Angel Nebula, we angels have it is our duty to eliminate outsiders who disrupt the civilized order in the nebula. When she heard that the queen agreed to help the Sakaz people, Angel Ning felt a hint of joy in her heart. The queen she followed was indeed not the kind of angel who ignored all life. When Binghua expressed his willingness to help the Sakaz people, all the angels in various positions on the Skyblade battleship devoted themselves to preparations for the upcoming aid to the Sakaz people. Numbered T-8564, there is the only large-scale Sarkaz gathering place on the planet Sarkaz, Carmen City. Another ordinary day. Kaiman walked on the streets of Ciudad del Carmen. There were only a few pedestrians around, and no one visited the shops in twos and threes on both sides. There is a shortage of supplies, and the original circulating currency has become waste paper. Even if the officials of the city of Carmen introduce a new circulating currency, it will have no effect. Because the lower-class citizens of Carmen City don't buy it at all. As soon as they get the so-called new currency, they will exchange it for food and various supplies and hoard them at home. This has caused most of the lower-class citizens to return to the most primitive way of exchanging things for things, except for official fighters like Xiang Kaiman. Hurrah, fly! Fly! 3 children in shabby clothes ran past Kaiman carrying toys made from old wood chips. Looking at this scene, Kaiman couldn't help but raise the corner of his mouth a little. Perhaps only by looking at these innocent children living under the wings of their parents can they temporarily forget the cruel reality. Just yesterday, Kaiman received the survival supplies for the next week, but he obviously found that the supplies had shrunk compared to the last time. This situation made Kaiman feel cold. This sign showed that Carmen City was in a state of shortage of supplies. However, as a combatant who often goes out to collect resources, Kaiman knows that the frequency of chaos bodies has begun to increase in frequency in recent times. If it hadn't been for the legendary angel's rescue last time, he might have been buried in the wilderness like the other dead team members. But speaking of it, that angel is quite beautiful, much prettier than the beauties surrounding Carmen's senior management. It's a pity that she doesn't have horns on her forehead. That day, after Kaiman went to visit the families of the fallen members of the team, when he returned to the church, the missionary told him that the 2 beautiful ladies had left. This made Kaiman very regretful. After Kaiman learned that Angel Ning and Yin were angels, the things he had placed his trust in became reality. This gave Kaiman a bold idea that he had never had before, using the power of angels to help the Sakaz people escape from their current state of survival. But Angel Ning also said that he was just an ordinary angel warrior and could not make the decision to rescue the Sakaz people. Now that 2 days have passed, Angel Ning has not come to find him, which makes Kaiman wonder if the angels decided to sit on the sidelines. Just as Kaiman lowered his head in thought, ordinary Sakaz residents on the street suddenly raised their hands and pointed at the sky. Kaiman turned around and looked up curiously, and his eyes widened in the next moment, because a giant object like a suspended sword in the sky was getting bigger and bigger, and it seemed that its landing point was the central area of City del Carmen. As if to prove that the scene was not Kaiman's hallucination, piercing sirens immediately sounded throughout the entire city of Carmen, and they were also the highest danger level sirens. The white and gold hull, like an upside-down sword blade, faintly exudes a divine brilliance. The shadow cast directly covers 1/3 of the city of Carmen, and the magnificent and luxurious palace above the hull is vaguely visible in the mist. City Lord, do we want to open fire? A middle-aged Sakaz man wearing a red military uniform came behind an old man who was standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling window and looked up at the sky and respectfully asked for instructions. The old man is the city lord of this last city of the Sakaz people. He has a somewhat sparse white hair hanging down behind his head, and the protruding horns on his forehead are no longer sharp. There is nothing else on his old face, which is full of longing for the future of the city. Concern. Raising his hand and waving it, the old man Sakaz sighed. There is no need to keep the army ready to fire at any time. With our current situation, no matter how bad the situation is, it will not get any worse. Let's first see what purpose these alien visitors have. The Skyblade battleship stopped falling when it was still 1,000 meters away from the ground. Then hundreds of angels rushed out of the Skyblade, flapped their wings and suspended in the air, guarding the Skyblade in the middle. The Queen of Angels is here, why hasn't the supreme leader of the Sakaz people come to greet her? A female voice echoed over the city of Carmen. In order for the Sakaz people to understand, she specifically used the Sakaz language. This shocked the defensive troops of the inner city of Carmen and the ordinary citizens of the outer city below. Angel, isn't this a mythical and fictitious existence of the Angel of Salvation sect? But how to explain now, that figure with white wings flying in the sky is not an illusion. I am the Lord of the city, the legendary angel. Please forgive me for not being able to greet your queen in person. We Sakaz people have lost the ability to fly in the air. Below the Skyblade hovering, after knowing that the alien visitor in the sky was the angel who had guided their civilization in the Sakaz mythology, the city lord of Carmen City left his city lord's palace and arrived surrounded by guards. Outside in the square. At this moment, Binghua, who was sitting on the throne in the main hall of the Tianren conference hall, naturally heard the Sakaz language coming from the speakers on the ground. Originally, Binghua didn't want to make it so grand, but the guardian angel under her command insisted on doing it, saying that it would be worthy of her status as the Queen of Angels. Ming, look what you are doing. I have not met the conditions you requested at all. Send soldiers to pick up the city lord to the Skyblade. I will meet him here. Listening to his queen's teasing words with a smile, Angel Ming's face turned red, a little embarrassed. It seemed that he had failed in this matter. When two female angels descended from the sky and said they were here to lead Lord Carmen to meet the Queen of Angels, Lord Carmen readily agreed despite the obstruction of the people around her. The moment he stepped onto the Skyblade battleship, City Lord Carmen could not calm down for a long time. Everything here was beyond his understanding. There is no support, a prismatic crystal suspended in mid-air, a magnificent luxurious palace nearly 100 meters high, with exquisite carpet-like prints on the floor. All this gave the city lord of Carmen a sense of awe for the Queen of Angels who was about to meet him. At the same time, he also had an expectation that the angels would be willing to guide the Sakaz people out of the dangerous place they were in today, as recorded in their myths. Looking down at the old man with obvious Sakaz characteristics who wanted to salute him, Binghua raised his hand to signal no need. Are you the lord of the city below? I am the lord of Carmen City, the noble Queen of Angels. Unconsciously, the city lord of Carmen City used honorifics. This is the subconscious reaction that a weak person will have when seeing a strong person. Binghua also went straight to the point without any nonsense. We angels are the rulers of this nebula. The Sakaz planet where you Sakaz people are located happens to be within the sphere of influence of our angels. Using your Sakaz people's concept to understand it, you can think of it as the relationship between the suzerain country and the subordinate country. Hearing this, the city lord of Carmen City raised his head, and for the first time he saw clearly the appearance of Binghua. It was a beauty that did not exist and was real. Even though the appearance was different from that of the women of the Sakaz people, it did not prevent the city lord of Carmen from admiring in his heart. But the faint power surrounding Binghua meant that this female angel was definitely not someone to be trifled with. Honorable Queen of Angels, according to what you said, our relationship with the angels is that of a suzerain and a vassal state. So let me boldly ask, are angels here to save the planet Sakaz? Binghua's eyebrows suddenly opened up again. That's right. The chaos body is beyond the range of the Sakaz people. If this continues, you will only be destroyed, so we angels have decided to intervene in the war here. There was no discussion in Binghua's words, just like a unilateral announcement. After the city lord of Carmen City left Tianren, Binghua immediately ordered a purge operation on the Sakaz planet. The goal was to eliminate all chaotic creatures on the Sakaz planet. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 235. For the ordinary residents of City of Carmen, the arrival of the angels is a real benefit, apart from giving them more things to talk about after dinner. Under Binghua's instruction, several scientific research angels on the Skyblade battleship modified some basic technologies of the angel civilization so that they could be used with the energy of the Sakaz people. Of course, these technologies are also basic resource recycling and food synthesis technologies. In the angel civilization, this has become a standard feature in every angel's home. At the same time, this is not free. The city lord of Carmen City has already paid the price on behalf of all the Sakaz people. In exchange for obtaining the angels' assistance and protection, from now on, the Sakaz people can only follow the angel civilization, and when the angel civilization initiates a call, they must devote all their efforts to respond to the call. These basic technologies aided by angels are nothing more than providing timely help to the Sakaz people at this moment. City of Carmen, which is suffering from poor resources, has received this batch of facilities at the fastest speed in history and immediately put them into use. Another thing is that because of the appearance of angels, the Salvation Angel cult in Carmen City has been frantically recruiting believers recently, and is deliberately guiding believers to enshrine angels as gods. The thoughts of this sect are very interesting and ignorant in Binghua's view. They believe that the food and supplies officially distributed by Carmen are all given by angels who are gods, and they are far more than what they get. The desires of intelligent creatures are always endless. Yesterday they were worried about not having food, but today they are dissatisfied because they are not full. When these Sakaz people are full tomorrow, they will want to eat more delicious and high-end food. Because of the basic equipment of Angel Aid, the food and material shortage problem in Carmen City has been greatly alleviated, and a large number of idle people have been absorbed into the Salvation Angel sect as believers. Because they were concerned about the civilized attitude of the angels above them, the officials of Carmen City did not dare to step forward to suppress the growth of the Angel of Salvation sect. For these Binghua, she just saw them as fun things to do in her spare time. Her real attention was focused on the chaos body virus that appeared on this planet. Under the scanning system of the Skyblade battleship, except for the very deep core of the planet, there is no hiding place for any existence on the planet Sarkarts. In order to better understand the nature of the creature called chaos, Binghua ordered the angel warriors to capture several small chaos monsters alive and imprison them on the Skyblade. Coupled with the experimental data obtained from the Sakaz people, the scientific research angels of the Sky Sword Legion have compiled some information about the chaotic body. After detection by the scientific research angel, the so-called chaotic body is actually an existence corroded by a special biological virus. Because the Sakaz people called it chaos body, the research angels adopted this name and called it chaos virus. After testing and simple experiments, the scientific research angels discovered that the chaos virus can survive in a vacuum, but is afraid of high heat. In addition, the chaos virus also carries a large amount of unknown genetic information. Thousands of them were analyzed just by relying on Tianren's computing processing power. Animal genes native to Sarkaz. When the concentration of chaos viruses in an area is high enough, liquid virus aggregates will form. Chaos viruses in this form have the instinct to hunt and find hosts. When a host is found, the chaos virus will transform the host's body without collapsing it, greatly strengthening its physical capabilities and improving physical fitness. As a price, the chaos virus will devour the host's unnecessary internal organs, leaving only the digestive system, and at the same time dominate the host's brain, turning it into a monster that only knows how to eat and expand its kind. The above are just the manifestations of the first stage of chaos virus infection. What follows are the observations and conclusions of the scientific research angels on the Sky Blade about the second stage of chaos virus infection. When the chaos virus exists in the host's body for a certain period of time, it will undergo more thorough transformation and mutation of the host's body. Take a common carnivore on Sarkarts as an example. Its body data before being infected by the chaos virus are as follows. It is 1.8 meters long and about 1.5 meters high. After being infected by the chaos virus, the body length increased to 2.5 meters and the height reached 1.7 meters. The hair on the body surface thickened. At the same time, the fangs in the mouth developed secondary development, and the claws became sharper and harder. Entering the early stage of the second stage of chaos virus infection, the body length increased again, reaching 2.8 meters, and the height reached 2 meters. The hair fell off, thick rough skin grew on the body surface, and bone spurs like barbs appeared on the back. In the middle of the second stage, the body size increases again, the original thick skin on the body is replaced by a hard cuticle, and special organs will grow in the body based on the rings. In addition, when attacked again, the chaos virus will undergo secondary mutations based on the attack and the surrounding environment. Just like the battle before Angel Ning returned to Heavenly Blade to report, the large chaotic monster's body changed several times during the battle and grew extremely unreasonable body tissues. The chaotic body that has been discovered by the research angels will grow the following special organs when it reaches the middle of the second stage. The ones that have been discovered include highly corrosive liquid storage and manufacturing organs, biological power generation and storage organs, radioactive energy absorption and storage organs, large shrinkable cavities. The above are the results of the research angels in the past few days. Binghua looked at these reports. She originally didn't care much about Sakaz, but she began to correct her attitude. Immediately carry out annihilation operations against the detected chaotic body gathering areas. This dangerous existence cannot be allowed to continue to breed on this planet. Following Binghua's orders, angel teams were constantly leaving or returning around the Sky Blade suspended above Carmen City. For a time, the chaos monsters gathered on the surface of Sakaz were completely destroyed. The angel warrior team that went out to carry out the annihilation mission had no intention of wasting time. As long as they found traces of the chaos monsters, they would directly join forces with other sisters present to launch a flame bombing. Destroy the gathered chaos body together with the surrounding earth. In order to be more efficient, on the third day after the Sky Blade arrived on Sakaz, Binghua mobilized a Sky Sword assault fleet to assist ordinary angels in completing the mission of annihilating the chaos body. Under the guidance of an ordinary generation of angel warriors, the hundreds-meter-sized Sky Sword assault ship projected a large amount of firepower to the ground, burning the Sakaz buildings on the surface to ashes along with the chaotic bodies hiding inside. For a while, the Sakaz people could only stay in Carmen City and watch helplessly as the angels purged the chaos body. However, the Angel of Salvation cult has become more and more restless recently. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 236. Boom. Fire clouds tens of meters high rose from the ground. Under the violent energy explosion, all kinds of strange chaotic monsters turned into fly ash. Queen, 80% of the chaotic bodies on the surface of Sakaz have been wiped out. Our Sky Sword fleet is gradually surrounding this area on Sakaz. In Tianren's combat command room, Tianren's Captain Ruyun explained to Binghua, who was sitting in the main seat, the current war process on Sokka's planet to eliminate the Chaos Body. Very good, just follow this pattern and continue to execute it. It seems that Ryun can take charge of your own business. The strategic plan for annihilating the Chaos Body on Sokka's planet this time is well done. Binghua's praise made Angel Ryun very happy. As Binghua has been regarded as the captain of the Royal Heavenly Blade in recent years, she usually endures the envious and jealous looks of many colleagues. Since he is so loved by the Queen, Angel Ryun naturally wants to prove to his colleagues that he is excellent and worthy of the Queen's trust. Queen, the next step is to carry out an annihilation campaign against the largest gathering area of chaotic bodies on this planet. Ryun explained at the beginning as he watched the 2 Sky Sword assault ships and dozens of angel warriors gathered around gradually approaching an area on the projection screen. According to Skyblade's detection system, underground in this area, the gathered chaotic bodies occupy an area of several thousand meters. Does the Queen want to stay and watch the battle? Anyway, I haven't been very busy recently, so I'll just take a look. Hearing this, Binghua became interested and began to watch the battle. Yinga, did your annihilation mission go smoothly? Angel Ziluo is a very experienced veteran in the Heavenly Sword Legion, and Yinga is also a good sister who is inseparable from her. The 2 women have always been in the battle sequence of a Heavenly Blade battleship, and this Heavenly Blade it's the Queen's royal sword. Okay, where are you? Yinga, who was leading 20 female angel warriors in the distance, heard the voice of his good sister Ziluo, so he accelerated his flight speed. The teams led by the 2 also joined together with the 2 Sky Sword assault ships that followed them. Together. Yinga, don't you think this kind of unilateral crushing and annihilation operation is boring? Isn't this great? You don't have to put your sisters in danger. Ziluo covered his helmet and visor and said a little depressed, while also raising his arms to show helplessness. You're right, but this is so boring. Fly over, and with a bang, the enemy is blown away by the Sky Sword. I don't even see what those chaotic bodies look like. The female angels in the team behind Ziluo snickered secretly when they heard the conversation between Sister Luo and Yinga. Ziluo is well known as a fighting maniac. She has been challenged by almost all angel warriors of the same level. She has even challenged Sister Ran, the Queen's left-wing guard. However, I heard that Ziluo suffered a disastrous defeat in the battle with Sister Ran, and then stayed quiet for several years. At the time, there seemed to be news that he was preparing to challenge Sister Ran again. Just as the female angels who lined up to defend the Heavenly Sword battleship were chatting and laughing with each other in the air, a sharp sound of breaking through the air suddenly sounded. With a muffled sound of impact, an angel warrior flying in the formation suddenly broke away from the formation and rolled several times in the air before stopping. There's an enemy attack, there's an enemy attack. Ziluo, who just wanted to complain to Yinga about the boring annihilation operation, immediately returned to his trustworthy appearance during the war and loudly warned the surrounding angels to be careful of the attack. Ziluo, judging from the attack trajectory, it comes from the front left. Just as Yinga finished speaking, countless black dots shot out from the ground on the left front, and for a while the airspace was filled with the harsh sound of breaking through the air. The angels guarding the Heavenly Sword also waved their flaming swords or war spears to deal with the incoming attacks. Only then did the angels realize that these things that were shot through the air were actually bone spurs as long as forearms. However, these bone spurs were extremely tough and carried huge kinetic energy. Coupled with their dense numbers, the angelic warriors were temporarily exhausted from defense and unable to move away to eliminate the source of the attack. But at this moment, he had been silently following the angel formation and spoke to the angels around him. Heavenly Sword has detected the location of the attacker and is now covering the source of the attack. Angels on the attack track are advised to avoid it. After this communication reached the ears of the surrounding angels, the angels at the front of the deep Heavenly Sword battleship immediately changed their positions. The next moment, a golden light flashed in the air, leaving only a vague trace in the air. The next moment, a dazzling light flashed on the ground in front and to the left of the angels, followed by a rolling cloud of fire, and at the same time, the bone spurs that continued to shoot out also disappeared. Yinga exhaled and took a look at the somewhat chaotic formation. Just as he was about to speak, dozens of unknown white filament-like objects suddenly shot out from the ground below. Suddenly, two junior female angels did not react. One moment they were stuck to the armor by white silk threads, and the next moment they were dragged directly to the ground. Everyone spread out and pay attention below. After saying that, Angel Zilugo headed down, inciting his wings to swoop towards the female angel stuck to the white silk thread. This was not the first time Yinga and Zilugo performed a combat mission. Knowing that Zilugo was very impatient, they immediately took over the command of the angels present. Sisters leave the ordinary angels to maintain a defensive formation and pay attention to attacks from the ground. Sister Sisi will go with me to support Zilugo. Zilugo, who swooped down first, rushed to a man who was trying to break free from the white silk thread stuck to the armor. The flaming sword raised his sword and fell, and the white silk thread sticking to the female Tiankai was cut off in an instant. Zilugo didn't have time to respond to the thanks from the rescued female angel, so he followed the example and killed the other two female angel warriors. At this moment, Zilugo was already less than 20 meters away from the ground and was flying into the air while supporting the last angel she had rescued. The ground below suddenly cracked open, making a deafening sound, and then gray-black biological tissue squeezed out of the ground. Zilugo watched the scene with her eyes wide open and was extremely shocked, because the scene that happened in front of her was so shocking that it would not be an exaggeration to call it a change of scenery. What was once a somewhat undulating land has now disappeared, replaced by the heads of unknown creatures that are dozens of meters thick and look like snakes facing the sky, but are covered with thick cuticles. What grows out of these animal-shaped heads is a chaotic body tissue that stretches thousands of meters, is covered with an extremely thick hardened cuticle, but is constantly undulating slightly like a living thing. At this moment, the sharp-eyed Zilugo saw that the flesh and blood covering a certain part of the Earth's chaotic body tissue below suddenly cracked, revealing its internal structure. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 237. The cracked thick cuticle is filled with dark red flesh, and among the tissues that look like blood vessels are arranged gray-white round embryos that are more than 3 meters in diameter and resemble bubbles. With the eyesight of Angel Zilugo's second-generation warrior, one can vaguely see humanoid creatures curled up inside. This is not going to be good. As soon as this thought arose in Zilugo's mind, he saw the embryo exposed in the cracked cuticle of the giant chaotic body below split open, and a figure covered with gray-black cuticle fell to the ground along with tissue fluid. Then they climbed up from the ground, and as the liquid on their bodies evaporated, you could clearly feel that the cuticle on their body surface had become hard. Sister Lugo, what should we do? The angel who had been rescued by 11 Lugo spoke with a trembling voice, causing 11 Lugo to wake up. Retreat first and join up with Tianjian. Angel Zilugo and the angel warrior quickly flapped their wings and climbed into the air. Although Zilugo is a bit belligerent, he is not a fool. The giant chaos body below is obviously different from the groups or large chaos monsters he has seen before. Zilugo wanted to leave, but the small chaotic bodies below that had just broken through the embryo and were born did not intend to let them go. These physical characteristics are somewhat similar to those of the Sakaz people. The chaotic body monster covered with insect-like carapace seemed to have received some instructions. The carapace on its back parted at once, revealing 2 pairs of transparent wings. Then it fanned up at high speed and flew with a buzzing sound. Got up. However, it was obvious that the flying speed of these small chaotic monsters was a tortoise compared to angels, and they were instantly left far behind by the climbing Zilugo. Binghua, who was watching the battle from the Skyblade battleship in Carmen City, frowned, while Ruyun on the side looked solemn. Changes have occurred in the war that was originally a sure thing, and any angel would not look too good at this. Queen, is this also a body of chaos? Binghua nodded and said at the same time, it seems that the chaotic body is much more mysterious than what we see. Then Binghua stepped over to the side of Tianren Captain Ruyun and ordered to the angel below. Now, immediately focus the Sky Blade's calculation power on the area where the battlefield is located, and give me a good explanation of what this thing is. By the way, I will rescan the entire planet. I want to see if this thing exists in other places on the Sarkert's planet. The Skyblade battleship anchored above Carmen City emitted a transparent pulse energy wave that continued to spread around. For a while, various mechanical equipment in Carmen City below stopped for a second before resuming operation. Just when Tianren was solving the newly appeared giant chaos monsters, Ziluo, who was far away at the scene and joined Angel Yinga, was already fighting with those flying chaos bodies. Compared with the huge number of chaotic monsters, the number of angels is pitifully small, but the battle situation is that the smaller number crushes the larger one. These Sakaz-like chaotic bodies have a single long-range attack method. The front end of their left arm is a jetport that can shoot out slender bone spurs, and their right arm is a bone blade similar to a scimitar. Other than that, there is no other means of attack. Except for the bone spurs ejected from their left arms, which can cause some trouble to ordinary angel warriors, these 3-meter-plus big guys are unable to cause effective damage to angels at all. Even for a generation of ordinary angel warriors, dealing with these chaotic monsters is as easy as chopping melons and vegetables. This creates a situation where there are clearly a lot of chaotic bodies, but they have never been able to kill an angel. Ziluo and other escorts were all fighting, and the Heavenly Sword battleship used as support and transportation for the Heavenly Sword Legion would naturally not be watching the show. Searing beams of light, several meters in diameter and slightly distorting the space, shot out from the Sky Sword battleship, incinerating all chaotic bodies in the shooting trajectory into flying ash. However, this kind of attack that relies on high temperature and energy shock as the main means of destruction has little effect on the thick carapace of the giant chaos body. It seems that the thick cuticle has extremely high temperature resistance. Only the Sky Sword's main gun, the Spear of Light, can explode the thick shell on its surface and melt away a large piece of flesh and blood of the giant chaos body. The giant chaotic body is not without the power to fight back. The snake-like slender organs that grow out of its body open its closed mouth and spit out gray corrosive liquid toward the sky. The corrosive nature of this liquid can even affect the armor worn by angel warriors. One angel warrior was accidentally splashed by this liquid. The body was seriously injured as it was corroded on the spot, especially the exposed parts of the body. Large pieces of flesh and blood were directly corroded, and the bones could almost be seen. Queen, the results of the analysis of the giant chaotic body have come out from the research angel. A female angel below who was responsible for controlling the heavenly blade system raised her head and reported loudly to Binghua. Tune it out for me. As soon as Binghua finished speaking, a projection screen appeared in the air in front of him. In the projection, there is a long strip-shaped creature with an uneven surface, and according to the data, the length is about 6,000 meters. At this time, a small projection popped up next to the data chart, which showed the face of a female angel. Binghua recognized her as the scientific research angel stationed on Ruyun's Sky Blade. Queen, we seem to have discovered something incredible. The chaos body is not a naturally evolving virus at all. It is a manufactured biological weapon. The female scientific research angel in the projection looked excited, as if she had discovered the truth of the world, and her tone was extremely exciting. Binghua thought for a while and finally remembered the name of this female angel. By the way, your name is Angel Min. Please explain to me in detail, what did you find? I am very happy that the Queen can remember my name. Please allow me to elaborate on the information I just discovered to the Queen. Then Angel Min opened her mouth and explained to Binghua in detail the shocking conclusion she came to through the calculation data of the giant chaotic body by the Sky Blade. Through the analysis of Tianrun's huge computing power, this giant chaotic monster with a size of 6,000 meters has been almost completely analyzed. First of all, the shell of this chaotic body monster is very strong, with strong high temperature resistance and the ability to withstand impact. Then there is the way this monster survives and eats. Through structural analysis of its internal structure and surface cuticle, it was found that it can absorb and convert conventional light energy, heat energy, radiation energy, etc., similar to the photosynthesis of plants, but the efficiency is countless times higher. Then there is the ability to create small chaotic bodies. Through the penetration of the pulse energy emitted by the Sky Blade, it is found that inside the monster of the giant chaotic body, there is a complete organization to create such small chaotic bodies. At most, hundreds of thousands of them can be produced at the same time. And this is not the end, other similar but not fully developed gestation tissues were also found inside the skin. This giant chaotic monster is like a space carrier that integrates manufacturing, collection, production, and other functions. This is nature, a special template that the cosmic virus can never appear. A special existence can only be formed through the debugging of intelligent life forms and pre-implanted evolutionary direction instructions. Therefore, Angel Min speculated that the so-called chaos virus is most likely a biological weapon studied by an unknown civilization. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 238. After Angel Min explained his views on the chaos virus, Binghua also started to pay attention to it. If, as Angel Min said, the chaos virus is a biological weapon released by an unknown civilization, then what is their intention in releasing this biological weapon in the Angel Nebula? Binghua felt that it was necessary to return to Merlot Heavenly Court immediately to discuss with Kesha, He-11, and Liang Bing about the problems that may arise from the chaos virus. Queen, the scan results have come out. On Sarkaz, in addition to the giant chaos body that is fighting our angels, there are two more hiding underground. Binghua's eyes became sharp after hearing this. He no longer had the attitude of taking a leisurely vacation, but showed the power that belonged to the Heavenly Sword King. Ruyun, go and coordinate all the Heavenly Sword battleships on the Sarkaz planet, let them move towards the location where the giant chaotic body is hidden, and force them out of the ground for me. Ruyun has also returned to his usual calm appearance. After Binghua gave the order, he gave full play to his ability as the Sky Blade captain and began to dispatch the Sky Sword battleships scattered throughout the Sarkaz planet in an orderly manner. Gather towards the target area. After assigning tasks to Ruyun, Binghua temporarily acted as the captain of the Sky Blade and ordered to the angels operating the Sky Blade below. Drive the Sky Blade to the sky near the battle area, and at the same time charge the Sky Blade's main cannon to prepare for the attack. After hearing this, the angel sitting below quickly moved and focused on controlling the Sky Blade. The Sarkaz civilians in Carmen City who had become accustomed to a gorgeous giant battleship floating above their heads suddenly discovered that the battleship hanging above their heads began to move today. The Sky Blade's flight makes no noise. Its flight mode is similar to anti-gravity stance movement, but its huge size still creates waves of air when it moves. But soon the Sky Blade rose into the sky and floated in one direction at high speed. The Sarkaz people saw it right, it just floated past like a translation, and did not see any jet outlet behind the Sky Blade. Soon the Sky Blade flew to a position where it could attack the target area, and then began to charge the main gun. As light energy and stellar radiation energy with a radius of hundreds of kilometers are extracted by the Sky Blade, it is like a sunny day suddenly turning into cloudy. Queen, if you continue to increase the energy level of the Sky Blade main gun, it is very likely to shake the stability of the continental shelf of Sarkaz, causing the continental shelf to break and affecting the ecological environment of the entire planet. Facing the report from his soldiers, Binghua just said calmly. Then do some calculations and see if you can destroy the giant chaotic body. If not, continue to increase the energy level. As for the consequences, there is no more serious consequence than if this existence spreads to the entire angel nebula. After Binghua finished speaking, the angels began to get busy again, and began to calculate whether with the current energy level of the main gun, they could completely destroy the giant chaos monster with a body length of 6,000 meters. The staggered rays of blazing energy crisscrossed through a large group of small chaotic bodies in the sky, burning all the monsters in a straight line into ashes. As for Angel Zillugo and other angels, although they would not be killed by these chaotic bodies like soldiers, they were still blocked and unable to approach the giant chaotic monsters below. Suddenly, dozens of female angels who were fighting small chaotic monsters around them received a warning notice from the Sky Blade at the same time. Dear angel sisters, please pay attention. The Sky Blade is about to launch an attack on this area. Please avoid the Sky Blade's attack trajectory and scope in advance. Angel Yinga looked around and found that the area they were in was also within the attack range of the Sky Blade, so she quickly shouted to Zillugo and the surrounding angel sisters. Everyone, hurry up and get out of here and climb up. The Sky Blade is going to firebomb this place. If the sisters don't move for a while, they will be affected by the Sky Blade's attack. And just when Yinga issued warning words to the surroundings, the two Tianjian battleships that were at low altitude and were constantly bombing the giant chaos body had begun to rise vertically. A few minutes later, after Angel Yinga, Angel Zillugo and other warriors relied on speed to get rid of the entanglement of the chaos body, a scorching sun seemed to rise again in the distant horizon. In fact, that was the vision of Sky Blade's main gun entering its final firing stage. The terrifying energy was forcibly twisted and compressed by the stance formed by Sky Blade in the void in front of the ship, and then violently shot out. The sky and clouds were torn into two halves by the Sky Blade's attack, and the whole world seemed to be at sunset. The moment the burning orange particle-shaped light pillar covered it, it was like a huge energy storm. In the turbulent high-temperature particle energy storm, small chaotic monsters were ruthlessly wiped out from the world in an instant. Next came the Earth, and then the giant chaotic body. Under the erosion of this continuous energy storm, the thick horny protective shell on its surface was quickly melted. After supporting it for several seconds, the huge body of the giant chaos body, which was over 100 million cubic meters, was completely wiped out from the world by the main cannon of the Sky Blade, leaving no trace. Without the buffer of the giant chaos body, the firepower of the Sky Blade main cannon continued forward, leaning on the surface of Sakaz. The air was shaking violently, and the earth was rumbling, as if it might collapse and shatter at any time. But at the next moment, the energy that was about to destroy the earth finally dissipated, leaving behind an abyss more than 5 kilometers wide and nearly 20 kilometers long. From a cosmic perspective, it looked like an ugly scar on the Sarkaz planet. Same. Soon these scars increased to 3. It was not until all the giant chaos bodies on Sakaz were destroyed that Binghua ordered Tianren's main cannon to stop charging. Later, due to Sky Blade's behavior of firing the main cannon in Sakaz's atmosphere, some changes occurred in the climate and terrain of Sakaz. The first is the impact on the continental shelf. Because it suffered 3 terrifying energy bombings, the plate movement of Sakaz star has been intensified. In the future, a large area near the continental plate fault zone of Sakaz star will have frequent earthquakes. Others with smaller impacts will not be explained one by one. Today, the number of Sakaz people is very small, and these slight changes in the environment will not have any impact on their survival. Angel Ning, you are familiar with the Sakaz planet. I will leave 50 angel warriors and a sky sword battleship to you. You will be responsible for the subsequent annihilation of the chaotic body here and the task of communicating with the Sakaz people. How about it, do you have the confidence to complete it? After hearing Binghua's words clearly, Angel Ning felt happy and quickly saluted respectfully and replied. Queen, I will definitely complete the tasks you assigned and will never damage your reputation. Being able to continue to stay on this planet is a good thing for Angel Ning, because she still has a promise that she has not fulfilled. Now that she has the Queen's order, she can fulfill the promise with Kaiman. After Binghua explained the follow-up processing issues on Sarkaz's planet, he took the Heavenly Blade battleship without hesitation, took the special samples collected from the giant chaos body, and went straight to Marrow Heaven. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 240. In the dark and pitch-black space of the universe, there were only the hazy brilliance of stars blooming. The golden and white Heavenly Blade battleship sailed straight forward in this dark space, like a large moving palace. However, after sailing for a period of time, the Sky Blade battleship suddenly stopped. In the starry sky in front of it, it was as if a transparent void door had opened out of thin air. The space was neatly separated to both sides, and the scene revealed was also similar to the starry sky was very different before. In the originally empty space of the universe, there is now a star that is releasing its brilliance and a transformed planet continent full of technology. Welcome back to Merlot Heaven, Queen. As soon as Binghua came out of Tianren, Angel Ran, who was responsible for welcoming him, stepped forward and saluted respectfully. Binghua raised his hand to signal to Ran that there was no need to be polite, and walked straight past Ran and several angel warriors who were greeting him, and walked towards his royal court in Merlot Heaven. No special situation occurred. Queen, nothing special has happened recently, and the civilized observation angels of the Kra Galaxy, Mir Galaxy, and Skull Galaxy have not sent back any abnormal information. Binghua nodded. The best situation was that there was no abnormality. As for the chaos body matter, Binghua did not choose to make it public. He just asked Ran to take good care of the chaos body sample he brought back. First analyze the data structure of this for me. Merlot Heaven's defense system also needs to be rebuilt. The previous one was too simple. If it is cracked by the enemy, Merlot Heaven's game will be over. Hexy wears the uniform of the King of Angels and serves as the director of the Angel Science Research Institute established in the Mellow Heavenly Court. His responsibility is to assign research tasks to the scientific research angels below. Just then a familiar voice came. Sister Hexy, are you free? He 11 waved his hand to signal the few scientific research angels in front of him to disperse, and turned around to face Binghua with a faint smile. Binghua, why are you here suddenly looking for me, my sister? I don't remember that you have such free time. Although he 11 said this, his expression was obviously very happy. Binghua did not go in and disturb the work inside, but just leaned on the door frame and watched he 11 approaching. Sister Hexy, let's go outside and have a chat. Binghua and Hexy walked together in an area covered with greenery in Merlot Heaven, with soft grass, tall trees, and a crystal clear stream. The natural environment of Angel Star is completely reproduced here. Except for the lack of a trace of insects, it is even more beautiful than the real natural scenery. At this moment, the two women were no longer in the military uniforms of the Angel King, but had changed into ordinary clothes. Although it is a regular dress, it is also very exquisite. Hexy is wearing a purple-white long dress with half-exposed right shoulder. There are also pieces of soft metal decorations with slender silver patterns hanging on it, plus several layers of overlapping half-skirts on the legs. The transparent skirt makes the overall look noble and cool. Binghua's is much simpler. Compared to Hexy's dress, her clothes are undoubtedly more like regular clothes. Inside the white long top embroidered with silver moire is a long skirt similar to a dress, tied around the waist with a cloth belt, and there is a long translucent gauze layer on the outside. Coupled with her long black hair tied into a neat high ponytail, Binghua's overall temperament is also different from her usual uniform. The sharp heroic spirit between her eyebrows is a little less, but a little more uniquely feminine. Charm. The environment here is good, but I haven't been out for a while. If Binghua hadn't come back today, I wouldn't have spared my precious time to come here. In that case, Sister Hexie, you need to thank me. Binghua said jokingly. Hexie became furious and raised his hand to strike, while Binghua also made dodge movements in response. After playing with each other like children for a while, Binghua and Hexie straightened their wrinkled clothes and found a cleaner lawn to sit down. Hexie put one arm on his bent right leg, closed his eyes and faced the sky, enjoying the warm feeling of the stars' light shining on his body. Binghua on the side was not as comfortable as he-11. Instead, he sat on the ground with his legs bent and stretched out his fingers to slide through the surrounding grass tips, feeling the touch of the grass passing through his fingers, just like a man who was interested in anything. Like a little girl who is curious about everything and wants to touch and see. After a while, he-11 lowered his head and opened his starry blue eyes to look at Binghua, who was still grinding the grass beside him with his fingers. Tell me, you called me out this time, sister, because you need to ask me for something. If you don't tell me, I will go back in a while. Binghua turned his head a little embarrassed. Sister Hexie, how did you know that I had something to ask you for help? He-11's face showed a look that was indeed true. We sisters have known each other for more than 200 years. I don't know you yet. If you had nothing to do, you would have gone to your laboratory to study those weird weapons. How could you have time to come to see me, sister, hang out? The expression on Binghua's face was a little uneasy, but he still made a final resistance and muttered something. Sister Hexie, can't I chat with you if I have nothing to do? Immediately afterwards, Binghua put away his unnecessary expression and his expression became solemn. He stretched out a finger and swiped in the air in front of him, and a light screen appeared. Sister Hexie, when I went out to investigate Hawaii this time and came back, I discovered a very special cosmic virus when passing by a planet. This is the result of a simple analysis and speculation of this virus by the scientific research angels under my command. When he-11 heard this, he approached Binghua with interest, stretched out his fingers to draw on the projection, and checked the information provided by Binghua. It's a very strange virus that has such a complex biological structure and the ability to survive in a vacuum. Binghua then told he-11 about Angel Min's speculation and the characteristics of the chaos virus on Sakaz. According to what you said, Binghua, this virus is really strange. It can turn living things into giant organisms with a structure similar to that of a space battleship. This has obvious traces of intelligent civilization. So how can I help? Sister Hexie, I want the Space Base Corps to help study the biological structure of the chaos virus. Since this virus appears in the angel civilization, we must have a full understanding of it. Only in this way can we completely eliminate it. Binghua stood up and looked at the sky in Merlot heaven and said firmly. Okay, I will arrange it as soon as possible. I believe the results will come out soon. Binghua nodded, then whispered softly. I hope nothing unexpected happens to the Angel Nebula. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 241. Binghua asked Hexie to help analyze the biological structure and countermeasures of the chaos virus in order to prevent this virus from spreading to the angel civilization. What he saw and heard in Sakaz made Binghua realize how terrifying this virus was. It allowed its host to mutate almost without limit, and eventually turned into a grotesque monster. Therefore, angel warriors must be immune to this virus. After concluding the conversation with he-11, Binghua packaged and transmitted the current situation of Sakaz planet and basic information about the chaos virus to Liangbing's left-wing guardian Angel Yunlan. Angel Yunlan also attached great importance to the information on Sakaz collected by Binghua and immediately reported it to her Queen Liangbing. What happened after that was not Binghua's responsibility, because most of the soldiers of the Apocalypse Legion were good at space technology and had been responsible for the intelligence collection of the Angel Nebula since the establishment of the Merlot Heavenly Court. However, due to manpower problems, the Apocalypse Legion's intelligence network can only radiate some major areas of the Angel Nebula. Strictly speaking, in the current Merlot Heavenly Court, although the 4 Angel Queens, including Binghua, have a clear division of labor, there is inevitably some overlap in the scope of their management. Just like in foreign wars, the Nebula defense line is under the command of Binghua's Heavenly Sword Legion, but in fact Kesha, Liang Bing, and He-11 all have the ability to wage foreign wars. Another example is the Angel Research Institute that He-11 is in charge of. The scope of accusations includes angel weapons, various large-scale celestial projects, and the research and improvement of super genes. However, in fact, each Angel Legion has its own scientific research force. Some time has passed since Binghua returned to Merlot Heavenly Court, in the Scientific Research Department of the Heavenly Sword Legion. Binghua wears a silver metal glove on his right hand. The glove is made of pieces of silver metal and does not affect the movement of the wrist at all. It covers Binghua's elbow. Binghua's face was serious, his eyes focused on the space in front of him, and he saw that the blue crystal pattern embedded in the back of the hand that Binghua raised was glowing faintly. At the same time, a special position invisible to the naked eye is squeezing the space a few meters in front of Binghua. The Tai alloy longsword used for experiments was slightly deformed under this huge squeezing force. After a while, seeing that he could not increase the twisted power, Binghua shut down the weapon engine inside the glove with a thought. With a sway, the slightly deformed longsword fell to the floor of the laboratory. Binghua exhaled, and the metal gloves on his hands made a sound of metal interlacing, and its various parts unfolded outward. Binghua took out his right hand from the unfolded glove, and then put the glove into the weapons arsenal at the other end of the micro-wormhole. The 107th experiment to strengthen stance strength is over. The energy output power has been increased by 5%, and the stance strength has been increased by 3%. Binghua wrote the above information into his weapon experiment log and prepared to leave the laboratory. But just then Angel Rand's communication request appeared. Queen, Alan, the left-wing guard of the Sky Blade King, just received news that the Sky Blade King is preparing to convene a meeting of the Merlot Heavenly King and invites the Queen to attend. Binghua nodded to indicate that he understood. Tell Alan that I will go over and participate. Liang Bing, as the King of Apocalypse, you are responsible for the collection of external intelligence of Merlot Heavenly Court, but if you listen to what major events have happened in Angel Nebula recently, you haven't heard any news at all. Kesha's tone was very hateful, while Liang Bing lowered his head, like a child who had made a mistake. Liang Bing, recently there have been many reports of the destruction of civilizations in the galaxy on the edge of the Angel Nebula, and all of this news has reached my ears. So Liang Bing, temporarily stop your research on space genetic engineering and turn your attention to how to deal with the mysterious destruction of more and more civilizations in the Angel Nebula. Liang Bing responded reluctantly, I know, sister. Binghua said after seeing that the problem between Kesha and Liang Bing had come to an end for the time being. Kesha, you called He-11 and I over. Do you have something to say? Kesha nodded. A few days ago, an affiliated civilization sent a message saying that they were attacked by a terrifying cosmic virus. This virus was too difficult for them to fight against, so they sent a message for help to our angels. Hearing this, Binghua and Hexi looked at each other, and Hexi finally spoke. Kesha, did those civilizations encounter a? He-11 explained the general characteristics of the chaos virus. This is basically consistent with the characteristics of the cosmic virus described by the affiliated civilization. According to the calculations of my soldiers, this virus is spreading from the edge of the Angel Nebula to the inner region. So Binghua, I need the Sky Sword Legion to assist the Sky Blade Legion to prevent the continued spread of this virus. Binghua nodded in agreement, and Hexi was later assigned a task by Kesha to find out the cause of the formation of this virus as soon as possible and the effective means of killing it. After that, the brief King's meeting ended, and He-11 began to increase investment in the Chaos Virus Analysis project. After Binghua returned, he also asked Angel Ran to mobilize a group of Heavenly Sword Legion warships and warriors from the Cross system to cooperate with the Heavenly Blade Legion's actions. In response to the erosion of the Angel Nebula by the Chaos Virus, the Angel civilization organized a combat force mainly composed of Sky Blades to rescue civilizations infected by the Chaos Virus. This kind of rescue is actually to help the infected civilization eliminate the chaotic monsters on the planet, and to support it with a certain amount of materials to help these civilizations tide over the difficulties. For a time, under Angel's strategy, the spread of the Chaos Virus was greatly curbed, and the Angel gradually reduced its infection range in the Angel Nebula. But in this great situation, an uninvited guest arrived at Angel Nebula. Dozens of silver-colored, slender triangular space battleships arrived near a living planet on the edge of the Angel Nebula with the blue light trailing behind them at high speed. Chaos has infected this planet according to analysis. The infection rate of the planet has reached more than 50%, reaching the upper limit of the Purification Treaty. Start implementing the Purification Treaty. The fleet composed of dozens of slender triangular space battleships spread out. As a battleship inside the fleet that was several times larger than the surrounding battleships opened fire, other battleships also opened fire at the planet at the same time. The blazing white light pillar fell from the sky and burned everything on the earth mercilessly. Whether it was the chaotic monsters or the intelligent life on the planet, they were all reduced to dead souls under this world-destroying light pillar. After carefully plowing the entire planet back and forth with energy weapons several times until there was no sign of any living organisms, the fleet evacuated the planet. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 242. Queen, the Sky Blade Legion has been making a lot of moves recently. Kesha sent 100,000 more troops to the Sky Meteor Galaxy a few days ago. The left-wing guard Elan personally led the team. It seems that a large number of planets infected by Chaos Body were discovered there. Hearing this, Binghua put down the half-written weapon research diary in his hand, looked up at Ran who was thinking about something, and asked casually, "Has there been any news from the Sky Sword Legion? By the way, Ran, I remember that part of the Sky Sword Legion also participated in the annihilation of the Chaos Body in the Sky Meteor Galaxy." After Binghua reminded him, Angel Ran immediately woke up. "Yes, Queen, why did I forget about this? I will contact my sisters in the Tianyun Galaxy soon and ask if anything happened during the annihilation operation." After saying this, Angel Ran hurriedly left the rest room where Binghua usually stayed. Seeing this, Binghua shook her head helplessly. Angel Ran is undoubtedly a very responsible guardian angel. She has to worry about all the big and small things of the Heavenly Sword Legion. As the Angel King, Binghua himself is free and can study and enrich his own weapons. Supergenetic knowledge that I lack. Binghua then continued to enter his weapon research log. Project, to be launched number 32. Type, Large Destroyer Series. Reason for failure, it is bulky and extremely difficult to carry. Relying on a single micro-wormhole calculation and transportation requires a lot of time, and is not suitable for fierce battlefield environments. Closing the weapon research log, Binghua breathed a sigh of relief. She had entered a bottleneck in her recent weapon development work. Many well-conceived weapons could not continue to be developed due to technical and environmental problems. Binghua had to put them into the waiting list. Starting the project. Ordinary civilization within the Sky Meteor Galaxy has suffered unprecedented catastrophes in the past 2 decades, with nameless cosmic viruses falling from the sky. The Earth turned into a dead place, animals turned into aliens, and fellow humans turned into undead monsters and attacked their former relatives and companions. For a time, the reality of the world where various civilizations lived seemed to be upside down with hell. Even if some people survived the ravages of the virus, they were barely struggling to survive in hell. Just when despair is about to completely swallow up the light and reality will no longer exist, they appear. They have beautiful faces that are unlike ordinary people, carry a pair of white wings that symbolize divine light, and come with the sacred sword that pierces the sky. They are like the incarnation of the Almighty God, bringing food, destroying the undead demons crawling out of hell, and purifying the source of terror. This is the reputation of angels that gradually spreads in the Tianyu galaxy, and they are respected as saviors. Angels are also happy to enjoy the worship and belief of indigenous civilizations in them, and are also willing to do their best to protect this peace. However, when the battle to annihilate the chaos body entered a critical moment, the living planets in the meteor galaxy near the boundary of the Angel Nebula were attacked by unknown energy weapons. According to the reports of the Apocalypse Legion soldiers in charge of intelligence work, the entire surfaces of the planets that were attacked were burned by energy weapons, and no life survived. It was precisely because of this matter that Merlot Heavenly Court decided to increase its troops by 100,000, and Kesh's left-wing escort would lead a team to the Skyfall galaxy to find this uninvited guest who had slipped into the Angel Nebula. At this moment, this uninvited guest in the eyes of the Angel civilization has arrived outside a planet that was recently infected by the Chaos virus. After scanning, the planet's infection rate has not reached 50%, and the purification treaty cannot be implemented. The second plan is now launched to grant the planet's carbon-based life forms eternal sublimation and eliminate all chaos viruses. This time, the Silver Fleet did not launch an indiscriminate attack on the planet, but broke through the atmosphere and launched a devastating blow to the chaotic monsters on the planet. At the same time, these space battleships began to drop giant square metal instruments tens of meters each to the surface one after another. After these metal cubes, which were tens of meters long and wide, landed on the ground, they began to deform rapidly, and soon metal buildings of unknown purpose appeared on the ground. About less than 2 hours later, a humanoid robot appeared, covered in metal armor and holding a long-barreled gun in his hand. Originally, the civilization on this planet wanted to contact this unknown civilization that suddenly arrived and thank them for their help. But when the chaotic body was wiped out by the unknown civilization turned around and raised the butcher knife in its hand against the indigenous civilization. The army of the unknown civilization is composed entirely of robots who are fearless in life and death. They are ruthless and indestructible. Under the attack of the metal torrent, the resistors of the indigenous civilization were wiped out, leaving only ordinary civilians without the power to resist. For some reason, the unknown civilization did not take action against these defenseless civilians, but chose to imprison them on the spot. What happened next was outrageous. The captive indigenous civilians discovered that the unknown civilization kept sending their compatriots into tall metal buildings. In the buildings of unknown civilization, these indigenous civilians received the most cruel treatment. Their bodies were dismembered and burned, their memories were extracted, their thoughts were distorted, and finally their new personalities were transformed into data and imported into purely mechanical bodies. The unknown civilization calls this process eternal sublimation. The indigenous residents who were transformed into mechanical life returned to their original compatriots and began to promote the benefits of eternal sublimation and the information of the unknown civilization. The history of the unknown civilization is very long, and its specific existence time cannot be verified. They claim to be the purifiers of the chaos virus and the eternal sublimators. Their purpose is to completely eradicate the chaos virus from this universe and destroy all chaos monsters. At the same time, in order to prevent the spread and infection of the chaos virus, they will give carbon-based life eternal life and an indestructible body of steel, as well as a data personality that will not be affected by the chaos virus. As the Eternal Ascended Ones built bases on planets in the Skyfall system, their traces were finally found by the warriors of the Apocalypse Legion. Kesh's left-wing guard Elan immediately issued an order to expel the Eternal Ascended Ones. A fleet consisting of 3 Skyblades, 30 warships, and 100,000 angel warriors set out for the star system where the Eternal Ascending Ones were located. Following a distortion in the space, 3 heavenly sword battleships jumped to the vicinity of the planet in one turn, followed closely by 30 heavenly sword battleships. Is this the planet where those unknown civilizations are located? Immediately activate Skyblade's scanning capabilities to find their fleet. Elan, Kesh's left-wing guard, sat inside the leading Skyblade battleship and ordered. Of course, the arrival of the Angel army could not be hidden from the Eternal Ascended Ones. Immediately, the smart factories on the planet began to operate at full capacity to produce small mechanical aircraft, and the fleet in orbit around the atmosphere also quickly assembled. A war between the angelic civilization and the mysterious Eternal Ascendant is about to break out, and neither side has any intention of communicating. Because the universe of Super Seminary feels too deserted, so recently it has been all about original content and some civilized races. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 243. Sister Lan, the Skyblade scanned that there is a fleet parked in the orbit of the atmosphere on the back of this planet. And the traces of civilization on this planet have completely disappeared. As he spoke, the angel in charge of Skyblade's investigation also called up the picture scanned by Skyblade. On the screen, the surface of the living planet in front was covered with various metal creations. Elan, who was wearing angel-style armor, only decorated with golden lines in some subtle places, heard this and immediately gave instructions to the angel responsible for conveying the order. Let the Sky Sword captains and soldiers prepare for battle. Judging from their various behaviors, these guys who destroy the planet's ecosystem at the slightest disagreement do not look like beings that can be driven away with words. After scanning the fleet of the Eternal Ascended Ones, the Angel Legion carried out combat deployments while issuing warning messages in the wide area communication channel. You, the unknown civilization, have invaded the governance star area of the Angel civilization. Please stay away from here immediately, otherwise the Angel civilization will launch an attack on you. But after a while, Elan discovered through the scanning image of the Skyblade that the fleet of the unknown civilization showed no signs of leaving, and instead formed a formation conducive to attack. You actually ignored our Angel's warning and ordered all the battleships to attack. Since you don't want to leave intact, then just become the dust of the universe. Elan can become Kesh's left-wing guard, so he is naturally not a hesitant person. He still understands the principle of striking first and gaining the upper hand, and immediately and decisively ordered the entire attack. For a time, the dense beam of light spanned the distance between the Angel fleet and the Eternal Ascended fleet like silver threads. But as expected, a layer of energy shield resisted the attack of the Sky Sword battleship, and then the Eternal Ascended One counterattacked with dense energy rays. Dazzling lights lit up in the fleets of both sides. Under the explosion of energy beams, one battleship after another was swallowed up by the fire, but the next moment they rushed out unscathed. Suddenly, a beam of more than 200 meters in diameter shot out from the front muzzle of the largest battleship in the opposite fleet and hit the Skyblade battle group. The 2 heavenly sword warships were not in a hurry to avoid it, and were suddenly covered by the shooting trajectory of this beam, and the next generation of terrifying energy passed by. The energy shield covering Tianjian lasted for 2 seconds and then collapsed. Part of the luxurious golden and white mixed body of the Tianjian battleship gradually disappeared under the impact of energy. After the giant beam dissipated, what was revealed were 2 heavenly sword battleships, with most of their hulls slightly deformed, and their dark surfaces no longer as sacred and beautiful as before. Fortunately, the scientific research angels of the Sky Sword Legion did not overly pursue beauty and luxury when designing the Sky Sword battleship. Otherwise, today's warship might not be as simple as just a slight deformation of the hull. At this moment, above the fleet of the Eternal Ascended One, the space was violently distorted, and the next moment a huge shadow blocked a starry sky. A Skyblade battleship appeared above the Eternal Ascended One's fleet, and the next moment the Skyblade battleship fell downwards. The hull below it, like a sharp sword, easily pierced one of the few four giant battleships in the Eternal Ascended fleet. Violent firelight rose, and the Skyblade was like a real sharp sword, piercing a large, slender triangular space battleship from the middle. Then dense angel warriors poured out from the Skyblade that broke into the enemy formation and attacked the surrounding space battleships of the Eternal Ascended Ones. In the fleet communication channel of the Eternal Ascended One. Purifier 1507, report your hull damage. Purifier 1507, the damage to the hull exceeds 50%, the weapon system is 90% paralyzed, and one energy furnace is still running. Purifier 1402, the strength of the angel civilization exceeds expectations. Abandon the fleet here, capture the samples and return to the Destroyer 023 base to restart. Purifier 1507, understood, I will instruct the Eliminator to create opportunities for you. At this moment, an unstable energy arc suddenly appeared in the rear half of the large battleship that had just been stabbed in the middle by the Skyblade. The next moment there was a roar, and a violent explosion swallowed up most of the Skyblade's hull, but it could not shake the Skyblade's shield at all. However, the impact of the explosion brought the angel warriors who had just rushed out of the Skyblade to the Eternal Ascended One. Of the fleet everywhere. At this moment, countless small aircraft rushed out from the atmosphere of the nearby planet, and they directly fought with the angel warriors scattered throughout the fleet. These small shuttle-shaped aircraft are extremely flexible and often join forces with other nearby aircraft to surround and kill angel warriors. But the angel warriors are not vegetarians. The shields equipped in their hands can easily withstand the low-power energy rays emitted by these aircraft, and the Tia alloy battle spears cannot be resisted by their fragile armor. But there were also a small number of angel warriors who were unlucky enough to be besieged by a large number of aircraft, and were eventually outnumbered and died on the battlefield. As long as this happens, the small aircraft of the Eternal Ascended One will quietly recover the bodies of the angel warriors, and then leave the battlefield without knowing where to go. Finally, after the Sky Sword battleship approached the fleet of the Eternal Ascended Ones and dispatched the shipborne angel warriors to join the battle, the fleet of an unknown civilization that had recently been scurrying around in the Sky Meteor galaxy in the Angel Nebula was successfully annihilated by the angels. But then by restarting the incomplete database of this unknown civilization, Alan discovered extremely important information. According to their self-proclaimed name, this civilization is called the Eternal Ascenders. There are no civilians in the entire civilization, only combatants. At the same time, every time the Eternal Sublimator encounters a living planet, it will sublimate the intelligent life on the planet, liberating them from their fragile bodies and becoming a member of their eternal existence. At the same time, in Eternal Ascension, all combat units wrapped in battleships are controlled by data life. They also have different number prefixes according to the different combat units they carry. For example, data life transformed from carbon-based life is numbered as Eliminator in the Eternal Ascended civilization, and its body is usually a metal body with certain combat capabilities. Next is the small space battleship, which belongs to the Annihilator sequence. It is usually evolved from the ordinary Eliminator after completing the long evolution data. Next is the Purifier sequence. Their bodies are usually large space battleships with a volume of 1 kilometer. They have the ability to purify planets and are the main force of the Eternal Ascended to purify planets infected by the Chaos virus. Then there is the Destroyer, who lacks information. All that is known about the Destroyer is that it seems to be the serial number of a large facility belonging to a base. As soon as Elan read these important messages, he immediately transmitted them back to Merlot Heaven. This gave Kesha a headache. The first thought that popped into her mind was what kind of ghost civilization this was. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 245. Outside the Angel Nebula, in the barren cosmic belt between galaxies and nebulae, a huge planet made of metal is slowly flying towards the direction of the Angel Nebula. The surface of this metal planet is covered with various facilities with unknown functions and closed metal doors. At the same time, a faint orange light is faintly revealed in the gaps between the various plates on it. In the huge space opened up inside this metal planet, there are slender triangular silver warships measured in kilometers and other types of warships hundreds of meters long. In addition, there are thousands of robots about 2 meters tall, with exposed wires and mechanical bearings at the joints, building mechanical facilities. Although it looks extremely lively, there is no life at all, because this is a world made of cold metal. At this moment, the internal systems of 4 of the hundreds of large warships parked inside the metal planet suddenly started automatically, and huge data flows converged in the data world. The stabilizing brackets that fixed various parts of the battleship began to lower, and at the same time an electronic sound sounded from all around. Purifier 1507, 1502, 0583, and 2301 have completed restarting and are releasing the fixed brackets. The outbound orbit is ready. Several evolution warships that had completed the restart were pushed to a position by the lifting platform below, with a surging blue light gate in front of them. The next moment no one was seen boarding the battleship. The Purifier battleship's engine automatically ignited, then rushed into the light gate, and the next moment it came from the inside of the metal planet to the outer space of the universe. Purifier 1507, how is the chaos virus purified in Angel Nebula? A huge light curtain was projected into the universe. There was no picture of people in the light curtain, only a ball like a star, with the edges constantly undulating. Destroyer 023, the Angel Nebula purification operation has failed. The Purifier fleet was attacked by the Angel civilization and has been completely wiped out. Is that so? I will upload the data here to Samiello, but we cannot violate Samiello's instructions. The purification operation of the Angel Nebula must continue. The existence called Destroyer 023 by Purifier 1507 said this. After saying the above words, Destroyer 023 spoke again. Also, Purifier 1507, please call me Sevis next time. I don't like the name Destroyer 023, and I think you should also give yourself a name like those carbon-based intelligent creatures. Purifier 1507 was silent for a while after hearing this, and then spoke. Destroyer 023, please forgive me for not understanding this special behavior of yours. The name is just a code name. It is no different from Purifier 1507, so there is no need to change it. Purifier 1507 rejected Destroyer 023's suggestion to claim to be obvious, as did the other Purifier ships. The data life in the Purifier battleship is an intelligent program created by Seminary, the creator god of the Eternal Ascended. From the beginning of the indifferent and rigid program, it has grown to the point where it now knows how to reject the suggestions of superior managers. This shows that the Purifier is also a life that is constantly growing. Therefore, as one of the intelligent programs separated from the creator god Seminary, Destroyer 023 Seves, who has now developed his own personality, will let Purifier 1507 take his own name. As a destroyer comparable in size to a small planet, Zavia sails in the silent and dark space all year round, and the number of times it is his turn to take action is very few. Therefore, he gradually became interested in the various thoughts of the eliminators who were transformed from carbon-based intelligent life, especially the lower-ranking people who said that name is the proof of a person's existence in the world. Eliminators and annihilators are the grassroots commanders in the Eternal Ascended civilization. Generally, Purifiers extract the personalities of intelligent life on the planet after destroying the chaos virus on the planet, and transform them through special technological means. Originally, they did not call themselves Eternal Ascenders, and there was no lower-level existence such as Eliminators in the system. At the beginning, purifiers served as command terminals, commanding a large number of mechanical creations from a macro perspective to confront the same astonishing number of chaotic bodies and purify the planet. However, thousands of years ago, when there was a conflict with a civilization called Kamigawa, the purifier's command system was overturned. The basic mechanical creations were invaded, paralyzed, or had control over them, causing the purifiers to become mere commanders. In the end, several high-ranking destroyer-level beings were dispatched at the same time to force back the Kamigawa civilization's army. Then Seminary set the Kamigawa galaxy as a dangerous galaxy, an area that the purifier fleet needed to avoid when performing purification missions, to reduce unnecessary losses. Since then, Seminary has created two new lower-level entities, Eliminator and Annihilator, below the level of Purifier. Because of their actions of forcibly converting carbon-based intelligent life into data life and their eternal and immortal bodies cast by machines, as well as the fact that as long as the chaos virus appears, they will follow one another to perform physical purification, and slowly Samurai Logo is called the self-disciplined virus cleaning machine of the universe and the eternal sublimator. Queen Elan led the army into a conflict with a being called the Eternal Ascended One in the Skyfall galaxy. According to the details of the battle uploaded by Elan, it was a great victory. Binghua turned off the projection model of the gauntlet in front of him, leaned back on the seat behind him and slightly twisted his neck, which had been in one motion for a long time, and spoke in a very calm tone. "I've also seen it. 3 sky blades plus more than 30 sky swords and 100,000 angel warriors. If we still lose with such a disparity in strength, the future of that angel will be really worrying." Binghua said that something suddenly occurred to him here, and he moved his back away from the left wing he was leaning on and asked Ran on the side. "By the way, speaking of this, I saw in the report that 2 flaming swords were missing and the bodies of 12 fallen warriors were missing." Ran Vinyan immediately called up the report uploaded by Ilan in his mind and found this message at the bottom. "Yes, Queen. In this conflict with the unknown civilization, the Skyblade Legion lost a total of 2 sky swords and 221 warriors, including 2 second-generation warriors equipped with flaming swords. According to the speculation in the Elan report, the lost warrior remains and the flaming sword were most likely taken away by the Eternal Ascended Ones. Is this so? I have a hunch that the so-called Eternal Sublime Ones are definitely not just as simple as they appear in the Tianyu galaxy." Ran stood aside and did not answer. She felt that her queen was a bit alarmist. According to the performance of the Tianyu Galaxy War, although the combat power of the Eternal Ascendants exceeded that of the general aerospace-level civilization, it was far from the level of the Angel civilization. After expelling the Eternal Ascended, Kesh's left-wing guard Elan continued to lead the Angel Legion to eliminate the Chaos virus in the Angel Nebula, and the results were remarkable. He 11, who is responsible for studying the weaknesses of the Chaos virus, has also made good progress. Except for the most core existence, most of the characteristics of the Chaos virus have become almost transparent. According to the research data uploaded by He 11, the Chaos virus currently raging outside the Angel Nebula is only in its initial stage. Chaos viruses in their early stages are like creatures without any intelligence. They will cannibalize all living things on the planet without limit and absorb the excellent genes in their bodies. They are the chaotic monsters on the Sakaz planet. Then these chaotic body monsters with excellent genes will merge with each other and assimilate into a giant individual, which is the giant chaotic body that Binghua saw on the Sakaz planet. This is the second stage of the chaos virus, from dispersion to aggregation. During this period, the chaos virus has absorbed countless excellent genes and can flexibly combine and modulate genes according to the environment. The chaos virus has entered its second stage to reveal its true appearance. Those chaotic creatures with a volume measured in kilometers can survive in the vacuum of the universe and at the same time breed tens of thousands of small chaotic bodies in their own bodies. They are completely a biological space carrier. As for the final stage of the chaos virus, He-11 has not been able to analyze it yet. He only knows that it will be very dangerous and weird. The purge operation organized by angels in the Angel Nebula had not lasted long before the Eternal Ascended Ones attacked again. There are countless Eternal Ascended Ones attacking this time, and their weapons are more powerful than last time. It's like they have been upgraded to a higher level. Just ordinary battleships can fight back and forth with Tianjian. And the most surprising thing is that the small combat units of the Eternal Ascended are rarely equipped with equipment similar to flame-level weapons. It is an unknown metal alloy. It is fired by the Eliminator, a subordinate unit of the Eternal Ascendant, with a long-range weapon similar to a firearm, which can damage the body of the second-generation warrior. Fortunately, the Angel Warrior's torso and head were protected by armor made of tire alloy, otherwise he would definitely be at a huge disadvantage. But even so, under the overwhelming force of the Eternal Ascended Ones, the Heavenly Blade Legion led by Angel Alan was frequently defeated, and had to give up part of the outer galaxies of the Angel Nebula, even the ones originally used to eliminate chaos. All the angelic troops were also mobilized to the front lines of the war with the Eternal Ascended Ones. As Kesha's left-wing guard, Angel Alan, although her troops were at a disadvantage and kept retreating, still led the main force of the Skyblade Legion to fight back and forth with the Eternal Ascended Ones. One side is to maintain the sovereignty of the angel civilization over the Angel Nebula, and the other side is the Eternal Ascended One who will never give in to execute the purification instructions of the Creator God Samiro. Just as the two parties were fighting fiercely in the Tianyu galaxy, the Chaos Virus was also taking the opportunity to find its strength, just like a beast that had broken free from its cage. As planets were completely devoured by the Chaos Virus, living warships with twisted and weird shapes like giant beasts in the stars entered space. At this time, the Chaos Virus revealed its terror to the Angel Nebula. They were as big as a city, and the cuticle on their body could almost neutralize most energy weapons. In addition, their biotech attack methods were different from common sense, resulting in some advanced aerospace-level civilizations are not its opponents. The huge weird biological battleship that covers the sky, and the dense giant tentacles hanging down from its body can easily turn the city on the ground into ruins, and the burning orange flames and billowing black smoke are the only colors emblazoned on this doomsday picture. Binghua watched this scene in the Merlot Heavenly Court and felt an inexplicable anger rising, as if his belongings had been destroyed by some naughty kid from outside. What's going on? I haven't checked the current situation of Angel Nebula for a while. How did it become like this? I need an explanation. Binghua's voice lost its usual friendliness and was filled with an alarming pressure, as if a lion had just woken up and discovered that there were several wild dogs dancing around in his sight. Queen, your weapon research work has entered a critical period recently, and the Skyblade King has taken over, so I won't disturb you. What I want to hear is why the Angel Nebula is the way it is. Ranwen quickly changed his story and talked about the reason why the situation in Angel Nebula worsened. Now the Angel Nebula's Skyfall galaxy has been divided by three parties, namely the Angels, the Chaos Body and the Eternal Ascended One. The three of them are fighting each other to destroy each other, but it is obvious that the Chaos Body and the Eternal Ascended One are mortal enemies. Often after the angels withdraw from the battle, the two sides continue to fight until one side is dead. Therefore, only the angels with the smallest number of troops can maintain the situation in the Tianyu galaxy. However, such a large-scale and complicated war is obviously beyond the ability of Kesha's left wing to protect Alan, and she can barely maintain the situation from total collapse. Therefore, Kesha decided to go to the Sky Meteor Galaxy to command the battle in person. This happened half a month ago. At this moment, Kesha is estimated to have arrived in the Sky Meteor Galaxy and took over the command. After hearing this, Binghua stopped asking, ran to learn about the situation. As one of the 4 angel kings who are good at strategy in active service, she knew very well that Kesha would never come to the front line in person until the situation deteriorated to a certain point. Because Kesha is different from Binghua. If Binghua cherishes the soldiers under his command and will not assign missions with a narrow escape for his soldiers to carry out, Kesha is the kind of leader who can accept certain casualties in order to train the abilities of his soldiers. After a moment, Binghua's communication was connected by Kesha. Kesha, I just finished a research project. I heard that the situation in the Tianyu galaxy is not good. Have you personally taken charge of the overall situation? Kesha on the other side had a sad look on her face, her brows furrowed together, but she relaxed a little after seeing Binghua. Not afraid of being seen by Binghua, Kesha rubbed her eyebrows with her slender white fingers and said, "Just finish your research. To be honest, the situation in the Skyfall galaxy is a bit troublesome. Basically all the civilizations here have been destroyed, and only a few have survived under the protection of the Skyblade Legion." Binghua's expression also became serious. Is it already so difficult? The main reason is that we have too few troops. Whether they are the infected bodies of the Chaos virus or the Eternal Ascended ones, their numbers are extremely large. It is difficult for the Skyblade Legion to counterattack alone. Even I can only prevent the war situation from getting worse. Is that so? Then Kesha, I will mobilize the main force of the Sky Sword Legion, and I will personally lead the team to the Sky Meteor Galaxy to support you. As soon as Binghua finished speaking, a look of surprise appeared on Kesha's face opposite. Really? Binghua? Binghua nodded affirmatively.